All right, so welcome to our first battle report with Dark Wizard Gaming. This is Zach, better known as Law Gnome.
Howdy.
So Zach, what are you playing today?
I am playing the Law Offices of Ogre and Ogre. I've got 5,000 points of Ogre Kingdoms. It's a very run across the board and smash in the face list today.
Awesome. Well, I have a mixture of a little bit of everything with my Orcs and Goblins. Not heavy shooting, combat, anything. Just, I don't know. We'll see how this one goes. You'll be on me pretty quick. I have
God, I hope so.
5,000 points. I'm definitely going to need to keep my Wyvern away from your cannon. That'll be the one thing that really scares me. You'll probably take out my spider with the cannon too.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to shoot down the majority of the threats before I get there. But honestly, as long as the Merc Vets get into something of value, I think I've got a good chance. Excellent.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, you too, friend. For characters, I brought a Great Khan, a Shaman, and a Khan. The Great Khan has Cagdi's Maul. He's got the Bluffer's Helm, and he's also got Troll Eater. So in total, he has Strength 7, D3 multiple wounds, 4-up armor save, rerolling wounds that he takes, and a 5-up regen save. The Shaman has 4 spells of Shamanism, and he's got the Demon Heart, and he is going to be hanging out with the tribesmen. And the Khan is my BSB, and he's got the Heart Ripper, and he's got Yeti Furs. For my core choices, I've got 7 Bruisers. They have full command, and they have the War Standard. I have 5 Tribesmen with a Musician and a Standard, and that is going to be my Mage Bunker. And I have 2 units of 15 Scraplings with bows and musicians. For my special choices, I've got 7 mercenary vets. They have all have Iron Fists, they have Bodyguard, and they've got Lethal Strike. And my Khan is going in with them. I have a single Saber-Toothed Tiger. I've got 2 units of 5 Scrapping Trappers. For shooting, I have a unit of 6 Bombardiers that are acting as my process servers, and a single Thunder Cannon. And then for chain beasts, I've got a Frost Mammoth, which has 2 Ogre Crossbows. I've got the Great Khan in with the Bruisers, I've got the Khan in with the Mercenary Vets, and I have the Shaman in with the Tribesmen. I decided to drop everything at once. I really wanted the first turn. I have the Bruiser unit and the Mercenary unit centralized. Just get them across the board. They have easy access to pretty much anything my opponent can drop. I've got the Frost Mammoth sitting next to the Mercenary Vets, just to fully play on the initiative shenanigans. I've got the Shaman and the Tribesman unit behind everything. I do not want them in combat until late game, and I do not want them to be an easy target for anything. The cannon's up on a hill, gives me a good vantage point for everything. The 2 units of Trappers I have in the middle. I'm going to try to use those to draw out the Mad Gits. And then I've got the Bombardiers over on the right side. I figured, yeah, good as place as any. Just kind of keep everything balanced shooting-wise, and I've got both ends capped off with a shooting unit, which should give me a good range of shooting and melee across the board, no matter how he deploys.
On the Orcs and Goblins side, I'm going to start out with my Orc Warlord. He's an Iron Orc. He does have plate armor, shield, he has the Warg, and he also has Blessed Sword, Dragon's Helm, and Talisman of Supreme Shielding. He's on a Wyvern mount, so he has a 2-up, 4-up save. Moving on to my BSB, this is a Goblin Chief. He is a Cave Goblin, and he has the Crown of Cavern King. And then the next Goblin Chief is going to be the one on the wolf, and he's a regular common goblin, and he has heavy armor and the hardened shield. So he's sitting on a 2-up armor save. And then I have a Goblin Shaman who has 4 spells. He's a master, and he's also a cave goblin. He has the Book of Arcane Power and Path of Witchcraft. I also have a Scroll Caddy who's a Cave Goblin, and he has the Apprentice, so no upgrade there, and just one spell with Witchcraft. Alright, so that is all the characters. Moving on to the core, I have one unit of 60 Cave Goblins. They have shields, and they have 3 Mad Gits in that unit. And then I have a unit of 20 Cave Goblins who have short bows and just 1 Mad Git in them. And then rounding out my core, I have a unit of 30 Orc Ed Bashers who have the paired weapons, and they also went for the Mammoth Stabber and full command. I have 2 Nasher Wrecking teams. I have 1 Goblin Raiders unit of 5 with a musician, and they have shields. And then there's an Orc Boar Chariot. There's also 2 Skewers units and 1 Gargantula. So since Zach went first, to give me some options on what I wanted to match up against, he has his big unit of mercenaries, which I really wanted my large unit of Cave Goblins to go against, and that's right in the middle of the center ground, so that was a good choice for me. I kept my Wizard Bunker back a little bit and kind of central, and because I'm so scared of the Thunder Cannon, I actually have my Warlord behind a hill so he can't be seen until we do something about that Thunder Cannon. I really loaded the left side of the board up with my Orc Head Bashers and then both my Wrecking teams. I'm hoping to get something into the Hand Cannon team before my Feral Orcs all get shot down, and then just to keep him from deploying and scouting over here with his trappers, I went ahead and put the Spider Gargantula on the right side. So we'll see how this goes. He's going to be on me pretty quick, and hopefully that I can get enough of my Nashers or my Mad Gits and my Wrecking teams in before he hits my lines.
For movement, I'm trying to get over to where the actual juicy stuff is. I don't care about the Cave Goblins. I don't want to throw my mercenary vets into the Cave Goblins. Screw the Cave Goblins. Instead, I moved my trappers up in order to draw out the Mad Gits. I've got another set of trappers there to start taking out some Wolf Riders. I moved everything forward and also to the right. Goal is to hopefully hit something worthwhile, and once again, I'd ignore the giant tar pit of Cave Goblins. Magic was a waste of time. No spells got through at all. Shooting was pretty good. The trappers took out 1 of the Wolf Riders. The mammoth shooting took out 2 of the goblins. And the bombardiers managed to take out the chariot. The cannon missed the gigantic spider completely.
So in the Orc and Goblin movement phase, the Gargantula decided to charge the trappers. They failed their terror check and they fled. He went ahead and completed that charge, and then that was it for charges. The Feral Orcs were able to pass their test for their frenzy, and they did not charge. On the random movement, the first Nasher Wrecking team moved up and killed the other set of trappers, and then the Nasher Wrecking team on the left-hand side, he was going to try to kill the cat, but he rolled really horrible, so he didn't get close to it. I went ahead and marched up the Feral Orcs, and pretty much everybody else stayed where they were at, other than just a little bit of screening from the Goblin Wolf Riders over between his cannons. So moving on to Magic. Magic phase went pretty well for the Orcs and Goblins. Zach let the Bewitching Glare go off on his General's unit, giving them stupidity, and then I rolled double 6s for Deceptive Glamour on Hard Target Distracting for my Ed Bashers, and he tried to stop it but was not able to get rid of it. My miscast, I only rolled enough to kill 4 of the Cave Goblins in the unit, so overall I'm real happy with the Magic phase for the Orcs and Goblins on this turn. Shooting phase was really brief. Both my bolt throwers tried to shoot the cannon. Both of them missed, so all we had was all the Cave Goblins shooting the mercenaries. We had a bunch of hits, but not many wounds, and only 1 that got through his armor safe. So moving on to Zach's turn for turn 2.
For movement, I actually got some very, very lucky rolls off. I charged the Bruisers into the side of the Wolf Riders, and on the way I also clipped the side of the Nasher Wrecking team, which only got 4 hits, so instead of wiping out half the unit, it got 1. I charged the Mercenary Vets into the Ed Basher unit, which does still have the Hard Target Distracting on it through Deceptive Glamour, but given that I only got it on the side, I should still win this combat. My poor kitty went through the other Nasher and just got destroyed, but I'll certainly take that. The Frost Mammoth decided to see who was going to win in a combat between it and the spider. So hopefully I'll put some on it. I moved the caster out of the unit and have the tribesman acting as heavy chaff should the Frost Mammoth fail this turn. So we'll see what happens there. So now it's on to magic.
Sorry about this, but Zach's mic started having some problems and we got a lot of static. So I will be I'll be recording both sides the battle report from here on out. So going to his magic phase, he was able to get totemic summons off and allowed that beast to come in right behind my lines. He can either go ahead and threaten my unit with my casters or go take care of the bolt thrower, so that's a really good spell for him. So in the shooting phase, the bombardiers and goblins were able to put 1 wound on the bolt thrower. The other bolt thrower took a wound from the breath weapon from his monster from the totemic summon, and then the cannon was dead-eyed shot, hit my goblin on a wolf, and went ahead and killed him with 1 shot. So really good shooting phase for the ogres. Combat went really well for the ogres. First off, the bruisers were able to go ahead and get rid of the wolf riders, which was no shock at all. The spider did 2 wounds to the frost mammoth. The frost mammoth did 1 wound and a charge, so it was exactly a push, which is about what I expected on that combat. The mercenary and orc Edbasher combat went horrible for the orcs and goblins, great for the ogres. So I think he killed 9, maybe 10 of the Edbashers. He had a lot of rolls on impacts, did really well on his hits to hit and to wound. Didn't have a lot of saves. I did a few wounds, just enough to actually have me still stay in combat, so at least they didn't get broke and run down. But this unit's not long for this world. It's going to be gone pretty quick. Alright, so it's looking pretty grim for the Orcs and Goblins on turn 2. Last round went really bad for combat. We did some pretty aggressive things here with my general. I went ahead and there was no charges, but I flew him up to be in the center of the board. There's a good chance he's going to get shot down by the cannon, but if I left him back where he was at, he was just going to get his mercenaries were going to come up on the hill probably with an overrun, and then they would just be able to charge him the next round. I had to turn my cave goblins with bows around to take care of the monster that was summoned last round, and we'll hope that they can actually take care of him. My other cave goblins moved up as far as they could, so we're going to try to shoot some mad gits out at his wizard. That may or may not work. And other than that, no other movement, so we're going to hope for a really good magic phase, which he already popped his demon heart, so I doubt that will happen well.
I'm going to pop it. Well, it's a good magic phase.
Oh yeah, I guess he can choose to pop it after he after I roll for the magic. So if I don't have a good magic phase, this is pretty much going to be wrapped up on turn 2 or 3. So on to magic. Alright, Orcs and Goblins got really lucky on the magic. He did get rid of the distracting hard target. However, even though he popped his demon heart, I rolled 4 dice for the wheel turns, trying to keep his mercenaries from hitting my feral orcs easy. I rolled a 6-5-4-3, so I did not miscast even with his demon heart, and he wasn't able to stop it, so that spell went off. So move on to shooting. Shooting was so-so for the Orcs. I released all of my mad gits. The ones from the big unit of cave goblins did go through and got enough wounds on his wizard that he was dead. I did a few wounds to his bruisers on top of it, got enough to get 1 guy gone, and then the mad git coming from the other cave goblins onto the summoned beast did not roll enough to do any wounds. I did shoot him with the bolt thrower, put 2 wounds on him, not enough, and then the other unit of cave goblins shot him, and again he's still alive, so he'll be charging in next round. And that was it for the shooting. Moving on to combat and see how this goes. Combat went quite a bit better than I expected. On the Frost Mammoth Gargantula, I won by 1, and he did fail his leadership and broke, so I pursued. I caught him and overran into his heavy chaff ogres. And then over with the feral orcs, that spell saved me. He won by 2, but we did a lot of wounds both ways, and I had a 7 rerollable, which I passed, so my feral orcs are still sticking around for 1 more round, and then it looks like they're going to be gone. So moving on to top of turn 3 for Zach. In the Ogre movement, Zach just moved a few things around, did more shuffling just to get in position to do the shooting that he wanted to. He was very concerned about my 2 mad gits, and he thought that he could just go ahead and drop the bruiser unit on them, and then, he knew he'd take some hits, but he definitely wasn't expecting the amount of damage that would come out. It turned out that I rolled off the charts when he landed on those, and with 4d6, I killed all but just a couple wounds left on the champion. He thought about maybe he should have taken the general over there and done that instead. We rolled it out. I think it would have been a little better, but it was still a risky move on that. Moving on to magic, since his wizard's dead, there will be no magic. Oh, he did go ahead and dispel the 1 remains in play with his magic phase. Shooting was awful for the Ogres, very exciting for the Orcs. His cannon hit the Wyvern. Luckily, he rolled a 1 to wound, so he didn't wound it. The Bombardiers and the Noblars also tried to take some hit points off of the Wyvern. Between misses and saves, nothing happened on those. The other unit of Noblars did shoot the big unit of Goblins, actually took off 2 of those. So overall, Zach's disappointed with his shooting phase, but I was very happy that my general's still alive. Close combat was good in some regards and poor for others for the Ogres. First, the unit of Mercs did go ahead and take care of the rest of the Edbashers, running them down, so that unit is gone. His unit of tribesmen was not expected to hold up this spider, and it didn't. Spider went ahead and got them, run them down, and got an overrun, so he should be looking at the cannon next turn. And then the summoned beast is still sticking around, wasn't able to put a wound on him, so he'll be there for next turn. Bottom of turn 3, I had 2 charges. The Iron Orc went into the Thunderers, they're called Bombardiers now. They stood and shoot, but there was no damage from that. Then I brought the Spider into the cannon. There's not much left for me to move. The only thing I did was just reform my big unit of Cave Goblins, move them up to go after the Noblars that are sitting there trying to take the objective. So on to magic. With magic, I rolled to get 2 spells off. First, I got Distracting Hard Target on the unit of Cave Goblins that are in combat with the Summoned Beast. And then I also got the Bewitching Glare, giving the Stupidity to the unit with the BSB. Probably not going to do much good, but it was my only chance to hopefully have them not move forward and start attacking me. He did get rid of the one I was really wanting, the Wheel Turns, making everybody hit and wound on a 4. So we'll move on to shooting. I only had 1 shooting, and it was the bolt thrower shooting the bruiser with the general, and I did hit, and I went ahead and chose to hit the bruiser. Did multiple wounds, so the bruiser's dead, so it's just the general there by himself. Move on to combat. We have 3 combats going on right now. My combat went so-so for the Orcs and Goblins. I did kill the Summoned Beast over here with the Cave Goblins, but not before he was able to kill my Wizard with 1 spell. Then we have the General with the Bombardiers. He killed several Bombardiers, but they put 2 wounds on him, shockingly. So we'll hope that he survives the next round of attacks from them. And then the Gargantula did kill the movable cannon. What's that called, Zach? He killed the Thunder Cannon by running him down. So we'll move on to top of turn 4 for Zach. So in the movement phase, first we had to recheck the rules. It turns out that a War Machine cannot choose to flee, so his mercenaries were able to charge the Bolt Thrower, which spells instant doom for my my Goblin unit that I thought was going to be safe with the Bolt Thrower fleeing. Zach then went ahead and moved his general towards my Spider. I will be dancing around that general, but it's a good play to keep my Spider moving around. And he also moves his Scraplings out of the way, so in case the Bombardiers don't win against the Wyvern, it's not a straight shot to overrun into them. With no magic phase for Zach, where he can cast spells, he went ahead and got rid of my Remains in Play spell. The shooting, we had 15 of his Noblars or Scraplings shoot my Goblins. He did 1 wound, so there was 1 Goblin gone. Then we went to combat, and the Wyvern and the Iron Orc was able to take care of the Bombardier unit. And then the Bolt Thrower was definitely wiped out, and now the Merc effects are in the side of the Goblins. There wasn't much movement for the Orcs and Goblins. I went ahead and walked the general out of the forest so he wouldn't take any more dangerous terrain. The Gargantula passed his test to march and went around his general so he can no longer see him. And that was it for movement. So we'll go on to magic while I still have a wizard left before he dies from being side flanked by the the BSB unit. I rolled a 4 for magic, so it wasn't a very big phase. I went ahead and rolled Evil Eye to lower the movement of his unit in the side of my cave goblins by D3. It was just 1, and then he went ahead and stopped the other one, which would have been wheel turns, making him hit and wound on a 4. So there is no shooting. We're going straight on to close combat, which is this only unit that I'm just talking about here with the cave goblins and the BSB. As expected, I lost my Cave Goblin unit with my BSB and my 1 remaining wizard to the side flank. I did end up auto-breaking, and he ran me down both with a roll of a 6. So that's it for the magic on both sides now. In the movement phase, Zach moved the Scraplings out of the charge of the Wyvern. He didn't want to give me some easy points for that unit. His other unit of Scraplings was able to rally, and then he moved his general over a little bit as well, just making sure with board control I can't just place my spider and wyvern where I want to. And then he also turned his Merkvets around and starting to work back towards the middle of the board for the secondary objective, looking to contest that at the end of the game. And with no magic, no shooting, and no close combat, that was the end of Zach's turn, so we'll move on to my turn. All right, these turns are going real quick since we have no more shooting and no more magic and nobody got into close combat. So all I did was bring my Gargantula around to try to block his Scraplings from getting out of the way so I could charge him the next turn. I turned around my big unit of Cave Goblins, brought them up so the BSB unit would have to charge into them, and then I brought my General over just close enough so I can still get my leadership bubble on my Cave Goblins, and it's a very long charge from his Great Khan if he tries to come in there. So moving on to top of 6 for Zach's turn. The Merkbats went ahead and charged into the Goblins. He figured that I could absolutely fail a 9 and then turn around and run, which would ruin the game for me if that happened, because I wouldn't have anything to contest the center, and then his Merkbats would actually be in range of the center. In the movement phase, Zach moved his Scraplings, so if the spider does try to charge him, they can run away and then not immediately go off the board, so he's trying to save a few points there. The other unit of Scraplings turned to face the Wyvern so they can shoot at him. The General turned around to basically give the Wyvern a rear charge if I wanted to attempt that, which I definitely won't be. So there was no Ogre magic or shooting. We went straight into combat. The Merkvets did 9 wounds, which seems like a lot, but considering how many attacks they put out, that was disappointing for Zach. However, the big thing, he was just hoping I would fail my leadership 9, and I did not fail my leadership, so I'm sticking around. Looks like unless things go really bad next round, I should be there for the rest of the game, contesting actually holding the center. Orcs and Goblins' last turn, I decided to go ahead and get dangerous and charge in with my General. Hopefully he does not die. He only has 2 wounds left on him. He did warg, so he easily made that charge, and then the Gargantula did run down the other Scraplings. So there is no shooting. Yeah, he only went 2 on his flea roll. So no magic, no shooting, so we're on to combat, and we'll wrap this up. In combat, Zach went ahead and challenged with his champion, my General, and the way that everything was placed, if I didn't accept it, I couldn't attack anything, so I went and accepted. I got full overkill points on it, and then he killed 10 of my Goblins. He won combat by 1, but I passed my leadership, so we stuck in. We're going to count up points and see who won. There's not much left on the board either way. What a great game!
You can't actually get closer than that.
Yeah, the exact points, 1990.
We both had 1990 points left. Unbelievable.
The only thing that swung it my way was he wasn't quite close enough to the center objective, so I ended up getting the secondary, so it ended up being a 13-7.
Yeah, and it was like an inch. I was an inch away from having the objective tied and it being a dead tie.
At the end of round 2, I thought I was going to be done by round 3, so I am very excited to even still be here at this time.
And after round 3, I was so mad at the fact that gits exist and that my cannon can't hit or the garbage.
So what would you say the biggest turning point was?
I would say the 2 biggest turning points was 1, bringing the wizard out instead of just leaving him in the unit. I should have just let the spider kill the frost mammoth and just be stuck with nothing for a while and have my guys moved up and keep them safe so that the mad gits going through them would not have wiped out my shaman. Still having a magic phase would have saved my ass. Second thing, I'm not sure I should have sacrificed my bruiser unit to kill the 2 mad gits. I think my general might have been a little bit of a better choice to run through there.
Sure. With
the bluffer's helm and the regen. Boy, after that, the major turning point was missing that cannon shot into the wyvern.
Yeah, I was very nervous. I mean, at the end, I felt like I had to bring my guy out.
Otherwise, he wasn't going to do anything.
Exactly. I felt like when you charged into my unit of Edbashers, I should have went ahead and screened him with my wolf. I wasn't as worried about that, but it turned out really bad. And then also not knowing that a bolt thrower couldn't flee hurt me quite a bit there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to look that one up, and that changed the game right there.
So I would definitely know to do a little repositioning or move some wizards out of a unit if that's going to happen again.
So what would you say was your MVP?
Oh, it would have to be my big unit of Night Goblins with the Mad Gits, because the Mad Gits just wreck a lot of stuff.
The Mad Gits were nasty. For me, it's obviously the Merc Vets. The Warriors on their days off, I think accounted for the most points this entire game. I'm not sure anything else actually killed anything.
No, it was definitely them.
I think they killed the entire army. So,
well,
good game.
Great game.
Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and see you next time on the next battle report. Thanks for watching our Dark Wizard Gaming video. If you enjoyed this video, please use the subscribe and the like features here on YouTube. And then leave us any comments for anything that maybe you want to see different on the videos, any upcoming content, or anything else you'd like to see. So thanks a lot, and see you on the next video.